Hi there everybody, my name is Ali and today we will going to do return from HackTheBox, which is again an easy Active Directory machine in which we will going to exploit admin panel of printer, and we will going to get the LDAP credentials of our service user. Once we log in with that user, we will going to see that we are a member of server operators group, and once we we will going to exploit that server operator group to become administrator. So that being said, let's jump in. I already have started my machine and my IP address is 10.10.11.108. So I will start off with the nmap scan, nmap dash A for aggressive scan, dash V for verbosity, and then the IP address of the target, which is 10.10.11.108. This can take some time to run, so I already have ran it. Looking at the results, we can see we have bunch of open ports. And again, whenever I'm seeing these open ports, the first thing which I see over here is on line number 12, which is port 88. It shows me Kerberos, which means that this is a domain controller. And then I'm having some SMB ports, and the strange thing over here is that I am having port 80, which is Microsoft IIS HTTPD 10.0. So this might be either Windows 10 or Windows Server 2016. I'm just guessing this right now over here. Then I'm having HTTP title of HTTP printer admin panel, and then there is 389, which is LDAP, and then SMB, and so on. So whenever I am in this sort of situation, I always look for SMB shares, which is 139 and 445. Then I always look for RPC client to see enum dom users if I can log in with null authentication or anonymous. Then I use Kerberoot to do some username enumeration, and I normally brute force for usernames, but in this case I do have port 80, so I will look at port 80 as well. So first thing right now, I will look directly on port 80, and if I didn't get anything on port 80, I will directly jump over to some SMB shares doing Crackmapexec. So first thing first, very easy thing, if we do some banner grabbing, I can also use Crackmapexec, and I can do SMB, and then I just give the IP address of the target, which is 10.10.11.108. And this can give me some basic information like some banner, the machine name, and those sort of things. I can say in nmap somewhere it also shows me that the service info host is printer. So let's see what it says. So right over here I can see that yes, this is Windows 10 and the name of the machine is printer, and we are having a domain as well, which is return.local as well. So again, Crackmapexec gives us some very basic information. Then let's jump over to the website and let's see what is on the website. So paste the IP, and we can see we do have a HTTP printer admin panel. So I can see this is a static page. Looking at the webalizer, I am having IIS and programming language is PHP. So I can also try to do /index.php. This should work, because if it is PHP, so index.php is the main page. Then I can go to different buttons, because right now I'm not having anything. So in the page source, most probably nothing, so that's fine. Let's go to the settings page and let's see what is on the settings page. I can see some input fields right over here. So whenever I'm having input fields, that is very interesting. Then let's see the facts page. Nothing. Troubleshooting, nothing. So settings is the only page which is rendering over here for me. So let's try to see what is this server address. So we are having again another subdomain, which is printer.return.local. Then we are having a port right over here, and then FCC printer, and then the password in static form. So the first thing which I will always look for is try to see this sort of a password. So if I view the page source, or let's not do the page source, if I press Ctrl Shift I and I go into the developer tools, and right over here what I will do is click this mouse button at the left hand side, move my mouse over to this password field, and try to see what sort of thing is over here. So again, yes, so input type is equal to text and value is equal to again static. So this means that I cannot see it somehow, and input type is equal to text. So what if I remove this type and hit enter now? Nothing happens, I cannot see it. So one way I was thinking is that there can be a possibility that I might have input type is equal to password, and if I remove password from the type, it can remove the statics. So that was what I was thinking, but in this case might not be the case right over here. Then the other thing is that again it says server address, so the first thing which will come into my mind is server side request forgery. So I can either add burp suite collaborator URL or I can add my local IP. So let's try to do that one. So if I do 10 10 14 46, and since I can see it is going to the port 389, so let's start our netcat listener on port 443, sorry, 389. Enter. And now if I click on update, let's come back, and there you go. I can see that I am directly having SVC printer, and this might be the password. So I will again copy these all to my notes in my Sublime text, and let's see, I do have a username and a password right over here. So again, I always say that in Active Directory it's all about getting some credentials, some usernames, some passwords, and those sort of things. So let's try to do some Crackmapexec stuff right away. So Crackmapexec, and I will say if I can see some shares or if I can log in directly. So let's see. So 10 10 11.108 is the IP, username is svc-printer, and the password is this one. So let's hit enter, and let's see happened. User and password, I think so I need to add some this password in single quotes because there are some special characters in the end. Now hit enter, and yes, it does work. Windows 10 right over here, and it shows me that the credentials are correct. I can see some shares, so I can also do something sort of dash dash shares to see the SMB shares rather doing SMB map or SMB client. Just a quick way to enumerate some shares, but I cannot log in with these credentials on SMB, which means I cannot use Impacket PS exec to log in or some other sort of things, but that's fine. What I can try to do now is I will go for evil win RM module, which is 5985, I think so, and most probably 5985 is open. So I can see I have a read write on C dollar, then I can read all these, and all these are default, so that's fine as well. So let's try to do the win rm module. So if I do win rm and hit enter, win rm, okay, I need to remove the shares because it says you are having wrong shares. Now let's see what happens. And there you go, it shows me that when rm I can log in successfully. So again, this shows me that I have got the initial foothold. So what I will going to do is I will be going to use these credentials and do evil win rm dash I for IP address 10.10.11.108. the username is again svc dash printer, and the password is this one. And now if I hit enter, I should log in because Crackmapexec has confirmed me that I can log in, so it should work. And there you go, I do have logged in, and if I type in who am I should be svc printer, and definitely I can grab out the flag there as well. So I will not look at the flag right now. Let's move on to privilege escalation sort of stuff. So who am I slash all is the very first command which I always do. Then I run winpiece, then I run power up, then I run power view, and finally I run bloodhound. But when I'm in very fast, my main go-to tool is powerup.ps1, and after power up doesn't give me anything, I directly go for bloodhound and sharphound because those are the directly go-to way to, so I enumerate any sort of a domain. So but in some case scenarios I usually run winpiece, then I do a lot of manual enumeration as well, a lot of software installs and those sort of things. So right over here, if I do who am I slash all, I always look at my groups, what are the groups which I am a member of, and right away I can directly see that there are two groups which are very interesting: server operators and print operators. So these two groups are the ones which I will be always looking into because normally in my daily life I don't see these groups usually. So what I can do as a beginner right over here is, then the other thing I can also look for SC impersonate privilege. Most probably in Active Directory I have never seen that sort of things, and I got some error message. I will just ignore those. But now what I will do is, let's search for server operators group on Google because I don't know what it does. Normally in Bloodhound, that's the benefit I get, is that I can see the abuse info of how to exploit this group or whether this group is having some special privileges. But over here it's very hard. So I will say server operators group privilege escalation. This might help. And I do have a blog post from hacking articles, and I have some hack tricks as well. So let's see what is in the hacking articles section right over here. If it doesn't work, then I will move on to hack tricks, because hack tricks is my go-to cheat sheet where I always do a lot of things. So right over here, it says vulnerability analysis. Being a member of server operator group is not a vulnerability, but the member of this group has a special privileges to make changes in the domain which could lead an attacker to escalate to system privilege. We listed services on the running. We listed services running on the server by issuing services command in our terminal, where we can see list of services, and then we noted service name, VM tools, and service binary part for the lateral usage. So on this one, if I just look my services here as well, so if I do services, let's see what sort of services are running onto my system. So right over here, I can confirm that yes, VM tools service is running right over here. So I think so I'm following this explore blog post correctly. Then what it says, exploitation method number 1 is that upload netcat.exe binary onto the system. And then what we are going right over here is we are changing the binary path of VM tools service to our netcat reverse shell. So looks fairly easy to exploit. So, and then what we need to do is we need to start a listener, and then we need to restart the VM tool service. So first stop the service and then start the service, and then we should get administrator access. The other way is he's making IMS Venom payload, and then he's setting the path. So this one is an easy one, but let's do the difficult way, which is uploading netcat binary. That's easy as well, but again, the thing is that we need to download netcat. So I will just go to Google. I will say netcat GitHub and netcat for Windows. Then I will download here nc.exe. This is 10 years ago. So let me try to find out some other one. I don't know, I'm just trying to do the latest one. So netcat.exe, GitHub. Yeah, this one looks fine. There are two ones, exe and 64. So let's download the 64-bit version. And I will click on this download button. Downloaded successfully. Let's do system info command to see what is my architecture, because I don't want to make it wrong. But access denied. Okay, that's fine. So what I will do is I will move it from my root downloads netcat to my current working directory. And even when rm provides us a very good way to upload files, I will simply do upload netcat, press tab onto my keyboard, and it will automatically give the path, and it will upload netcat64.exe to the machine from my Kali machine. Fairly easy. dir, now I am having netcat64.exe over here in my C drive users svc printer folder. So now let's try to follow what he was doing. So okay, so let me copy the command and let me add it into my notes, so I can edit it into my notes. That's how I normally do my daily sort of work as well when I'm playing any CTF and those sort of things, so that I have everything over here. So now I have uploaded it successfully, so I don't need to upload right now. What I will going to do is I will keep the same command again, and I'm changing the binary path. So this should be to my user's home directory. So if I simply copy this thing, and then netcat 64 is the one which I have uploaded. So netcat64.exe, execute command prompt, and give me a reverse shell back on my local IP, which is 10.10.14.46 on port 443. I always use port 443. So this becomes the command. So let's try to copy this command, paste over here, and hope for the best. Hit enter now, and it says change service config success. So now if I try to do services, Now you can see that my VM tool service path, binary path, has been changed to my malicious reverse shell command of netcat. So now it's time to start and stop the service. And as we know that once we will restart the service, it will execute as administrator, and we should definitely get a reverse shell. So that's the benefit of having this SVC printer user in server operators group. So it's a misconfiguration. It's not a vulnerability. So now what I will do is sc.exe stop VM tools. I will just copy it from here. So stop this service. Let's start a netcat listener. And now I will simply start this service, enter now, and I do got a shell back. And if I type in who am I am anti-authority system. So this is how we will get administrator access on this machine. And then the other way was fairly easy. Just generate a malicious reverse shell from MSF Venom, upload it over here, change the part to that MSF Venom payload where you will upload, and then restart the service, and again you will get shell as administrator. So that was all about this video. I hope you will like it, and I will see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.